us begin with the biggest game of the weekend. All of them are huge. All of them have gigantic implication as to who is going to be this year's Super Bowl champions. But the game that everybody is talking about, the game that everybody wants to see, is not the same game that we saw in week 4 between these two teams. This game has subplots stacked on top of subplots. We have the two front runners for the National Football League MVP in this game. Not only are they the MVP front runners, but they are the most critical piece to their team and their team's success. Run game aside, because both of them have a legitimate run game, the defenses for these two teams are not the same defenses that faced off against the opposing team's offense in week 4. The Baltimore Ravens in week 4 were not a defense. They have or had, since we're no longer in the regular season, they had a rookie defensive coordinator who was still putting that defense together, still putting his imprint on the Baltimore Ravens defense to make it his. Well, we are in week 20, like we mentioned a couple of minutes ago, and that defense has come to form as we expected it to midway through the season. On the opposite side of the coin, we have the Buffalo Bills, who very rarely, if ever, lose in Orchard Park in the playoffs. I believe they've lost once in their entire football existence. So you have the number 2 seed, you have the number 3 seed. Griff, this is the game that we've all been waiting on. Jordan, this is the game that we need to have a conversation about. So if you are done sweeping out the closet in your house, my man, please come on camera and join us for this conversation, because this is the reason, not necessarily the game, but this is the reason that the Baltimore Ravens tried to trade for Derrick Henry last year at the trade deadline, but definitely went after Derrick Henry and eventually signed him and brought him to Baltimore. This game right here, and hopefully for them, the next 2 games are the reason why Derrick Henry is there. Jordan, I will go ahead and turn it over to you to explain to the Roundtable audience as to why there are no worries about Baltimore going into frigid Orchard Park on Sunday night. It's going to be cold. Everybody knows it's going to be cold, so we cannot use cold weather as an excuse as to whether or not we are able to do what we want to do. What is the game plan, and how do y'all accomplish it?
Man, the game plan is simple. Get that ball to number 22. Let him run that ball. He needs to have at least 22 carries, and I think the Ravens are going to be fine. They're going to be playing offense and defense with the offense. Keep Josh Allen off the field, and we can talk about Buffalo's defense in a little bit, but that game plan is going to be simple. Just keep running the ball.
Keep running the ball. Okay, so Griff, I want you to expand on that. Buffalo knows Baltimore is going to run the ball. Buffalo knows that they have a huge problem in trying to stop the Baltimore run game. I'm not just talking about Derrick Henry. I'm talking about Lamar Jackson. I'm talking about Justice Hill. I'm talking about Picard on short yardage plays. I'm talking about Andrews doing the tush or the Baltimore version of the tush push on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. Everybody who knows about football or American football and knows about this upcoming game knows what Jordan just said. Turn around, get a ball to 22. Well, guess what? How about if we put 9 people in the box and we bottle up 22? How does Baltimore and Lamar's passing ability in this 2-degree weather have an impact to where we can not only rely on Derrick Henry or Lamar's legs, but more likely on Lamar's arms, getting the ball to likely Bateman, Andrews, Justice Hill, because it doesn't look like Zay Flowers is going to be able to play this weekend. What do we think about Baltimore's chances if they have to win through the air?
I think they still going to be good, man. As much as I done gave Lamar the business, in one of the areas I thought it was probably his Achilles heel was his passing. by far of his time in the NFL, this has been his best season as a pure passer, and all those targets that you just named, and even if they do load the box and they able to stop Derrick Henry, that's going to be short lived. I can tell you that right now, because you ain't just got Derrick Henry to worry about, you also got Lamar to worry about. And both of these guys, the last time they played them, and again, it was earlier in the season, they didn't have an answer for neither one. As well as Lamar still had the ability to throw the ball. And I think Andrews Andrews was still recovering from his car accident at that time. And now you got a fully healed Andrews that can score in like the last 6 games that they played in, as well as likely who would just get the ball more since Zay Flowers is not playing. And then you got Bateman and Aguilar stepping up. I mean, it's just a lot of weapons out there, man. And I'm looking forward to a good game between these, like you say, the 2 front runners of MVP. And I think this game right here, believe it or not, as much as some people might not believe it, for some of those voters, this is the only game that they're going to watch. And they're going to watch this between these two. And it's going to be their deciding factor on how they're going to vote when it comes for the MVP.
I agree.
Numbers aside.
So I want to go ahead and back and touch on a couple of things. Now, we all know that the playoff performance of a particular player does not factor into a regular season award. This is a regular season award. Technically speaking, the voting should have already happened. But for everybody in the football world, we know that the winner of this game is going to be the unofficial and possibly the official MVP when it's announced on that Thursday night before the Super Bowl. But whoever wins this game, in the eyes of the football public, that quarterback will be this year's MVP because he won head-to-head in the playoffs. Now, before we came on air, Jordan and I, and you tapped in on, we're having this conversation about even if Buffalo decides to stack the box and put 7, 8, 9 in the box, we were talking about the size of the Baltimore offensive line, where all 5 of the offensive linemen are 300 plus. You also have the fullback in Picard, who is also 300 plus. And you have Andrews, as you mentioned, who could quite possibly be that short yardage quarterback when needed in those late or 3rd and 4th down situations where Baltimore's implemented their own version of the tush push, or letting Derrick Henry receive the ball directly. So it's not like Baltimore is not going to be able to impose their will. It is just a matter of how soon can they begin to impose their will and then blow Buffalo off of the line, because the more that you push on somebody and you lean on somebody, they will eventually get tired. We are saying that the Baltimore run game may not be as successful in the first half, but stick to the plan, right, Jordan? Stick to the plan. Even if we don't have that offensive success that we usually have in the first half, stick to the run game. Even if you are down by 7 to 10 points, stick to the run game. Do not come out of your plan, Coach Monken, to ensure that Baltimore is where it needs to be at the end of those 60 minutes on top. Now, we talked about what Baltimore needs to do. What does Josh Allen, Jordan, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. What does Josh Allen and the Buffalo offense need to do to take advantage of an aggressive Baltimore defense, a defense that has some soft spots, i.e. number 21, that defensive back that everybody seems to be targeting, right? We don't want to go on the other side of Humphries. We don't want to go in the middle too much, mess with Hamilton. But you, as you know, we saw in the movie The Water Boy, where my at. Yep, there you go. They're coming at 21. How do y'all protect him, or do you leave him on an island with Shakur, with Coleman, with Amari Cooper, who is going to be back, or who is going to be there because he wasn't there in the first matchup? How do y'all stop that Buffalo offense while you have Josh Allen, who is probably going to have a Superman cape on, whether he wants to do it or not? He's going to have to, because I think Baltimore is going to be able to shut down the Buffalo run game.
Mm-hmm.
How does Buffalo take advantage of your Baltimore defense?
Yeah, I definitely think that Stevens is one of the weak points in the Ravens defense. He's been getting picked on a lot, and teams just know that's kind of the soft spot. So there's nothing that we're really going to be able to do about that. It's just going to have to happen. But if Buffalo wants to take advantage and win this game, I think Josh Allen is going to have to run the ball probably 10 to 12 times and have at least 80 rushing yards himself. The passing game, you know what he's going to do with the passing game. He's going to get some open looks out there, but he's going to have to extend those third downs with his legs when all of his receivers are locked up and get those first downs that are much needed to keep that Ravens defense out there, get them a little bit tired. It's going to be cold. So that would be the recipe I would see Buffalo winning with is Josh Allen is going to have to put on that MVP performance and use his legs and, do some damage.
Yeah, okay, so we always hear the argument that Josh Allen shows up in the playoffs. Josh Allen balls out in the playoffs. It is not that Josh Allen can't take the Baltimore Bills to the promised land. It is that the rest of the team sometimes comes up short, whether it's the defense or whether they're just playing against a better team. But Baltimore never has on that glass slipper. They're always getting dinged at 11:59. So, Griff, Jordan gave us the formula for Baltimore or for Buffalo to win this game because Baltimore is favored, albeit by 1 point. No one usually goes into Orchard Park in January and is favored. Baltimore is favored because of Derrick Henry, because of Lamar Jackson, because of the year that both of those two phenomenal players are having. Jordan gave us the formula for Buffalo to have success. Do you believe that Baltimore's defense is good enough now that whatever the formula that Buffalo brings will not be successful?
I think that the Baltimore defense has definitely looked a lot better in past weeks than they did early in the season. I think what George just said, with the exception of, I don't think Josh Allen got to run the ball as much. I think, and I know you said that the Baltimore defense was going to stop Cooks, but I don't think so. The same recipe that I think that Baltimore need to do on the offensive side of the ball, me at home in Orchard Park during this time of the year, don't change the game. Do not. Keep it simple. Hand that ball, make them show me that you're going to stop Cook. What a lot of teams do is they get away. They get stopped 1 or 2 times and then they get away from the run. Mm-hmm. During the cold weather, the only offense you really got during the cold weather on both sides of that ball is running the ball. What they can say, the highest percentage of likely better plays is going to come from running the ball in this type of way, because the weather affects the way the ball travels through the air. It affects the way guys can catch the ball, run that ball. But as they get back to your answer or your question, Baltimore defense is a lot better than it was the first time that they met. But I still don't think that they're going to be able to. You're not going to stop Josh Allen from doing what he's doing, but get a ball to Cook. Keep Lamar and Henry off the field as much. Let them get cold on the sideline.
Okay. All right. I hear you. You're talking about the offensive game plan being that the Buffalo offense should play game control. Now, we've talked about the game. We've talked about what Baltimore has to do to win. We've talked about what Buffalo has to do to win. We've talked about how good Baltimore's defense is now as compared to 2 months ago. And this is not the same Buffalo team that lost 35-10 2 months ago to the Baltimore Ravens. You have Amari Cooper that is added to this offense, and you have a passing game that Josh Allen has extreme confidence in because he hasn't had to do it himself the entire year. And it shows in the numbers. That's why he's part of the MVP conversation. No turnovers to frown upon, and his passing yards are not only reputable, but pretty much right there with Lamar. So we've done all of the discussion that we are going to discuss. Jordan, I know that you're going to go with the emotional, hey, I'm tired of Baltimore, we're going to win. But tell me why legitimately, this is how Baltimore is going to win this game. And then I want to get Griff's perspective as to who is going to win and why he believes that team will win.
I know Baltimore is going to win this game because they're just a better, well-rounded team from offense to defense to special teams. I know we had some gaps on the special team side, but that's just how they're going to win. They're going to play a good, clean football game. They got a solid game plan back there, and they're going to pull this dub onto the championship.
On to the championship. All right, we shall see Tuesday night, my man. So make sure that you are here to defend that position, and hopefully it is a cordial conversation and not one steeped in frustration. Griff, who wins this game and why?
I'm gonna keep it short, man, and because Dolan done rung the bell, and I ain't heard that bell all season, so that means we need to keep it moving. Baltimore, man, barring turnovers, Baltimore is a better team, and all the years that Lamar has been up there for MVP, I think this is the one year that he has the best chance of making it to the dance. So I give it to Baltimore by a field goal.
By a field goal. This is two evenly matched teams. I look for this to be the best game of the NFL season. You're going to have presentation. You're going to have the ability to have the entire league and every fan that supports football locked in on Sunday night. This game kicks off at 6:30. The projected temperature is going to be in the single digits. Wind chill factor of -2. And you've heard Griff mention it 1,000 times throughout this entire roundtable season that running the ball is the formula to success. You've heard Jordan harp on, we brought Derrick Henry to Baltimore specifically for this reason. And for Baltimore not to win this game, they have to beat themselves. Todd Munchin has to create an offensive game plan that is counterintuitive to what brought us to this dance. And barring injury, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are going to put on a phenomenal show. And once again, a season filled with hope and aspiration for the Buffalo Bills will come to a screeching end at Orchard Park, just like it did last year at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs when Buffalo lost a heartbreaker at the end by a field goal. This game may be close. I don't think it's going to be close to where it is decided by a field goal. I think Baltimore wins this game by at least 10 points going away because of the late game running ability of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson to play keep away.